What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phones and Drones. All right, if you guys can believe it, this baby here is already over 6 months old. It's actually coming up on its 8th month of usage with us. It's been released since September of 2022, which means the iPhone 15 series is nearing release. We'll hear a lot about the operating system that will be powering that baby at WWDC in 2 months in June. And yeah, it makes it really questionable if this is still a good purchase in basically May of 2023. So having said that, we know about all the positives of this device, but one thing I want to go ahead and knock out first thing for you guys is something that's been actually mounting for a couple of release cycles now, and that's iOS 16. For those of you that don't follow the channel, we have been very critical of iOS 16. It has been loaded with bugs. There are some releases on iOS 16.4 that have not been fixed in iOS 16.5 Beta 3. These are minimal issues, but something that you're not used to seeing with iOS. It used to be the smoothest, most valuable operating system out there. Android has since come and I think kind of taken the throne for reliability and smoothness, as hard as that is to believe. But yeah, you can't even swipe up without the notification center glitching or simply lagging behind. And that's a standard feature that we use multiple times a day. So again, this is software-wise we're talking. Hardware, opposite end of the spectrum, right? The hardware on this phone is gorgeous. It looks great. It works phenomenally well. I'm very excited though for the iPhone 15 series to get rid of this dang lightning port finally. So we'll finally be getting USB-C on the iPhone 15, which in and of itself could be a reason to wait and hold off on upgrading so you don't have to have a million different cords around, whether you're charging a tablet, a phone, an Android device, a speaker, anything. Having one cable to be able to do that to charge all your devices is going to be awesome instead of having to carry around two as you would have to currently. Now, one other thing I do have to call out, if you are baked into Apple's ecosystem, that is going to be another thing to consider. You have your Apple Watch, you have your AirPods, you have your Macs, your iPads. All of this works seamlessly together, whether it's thanks to iMessage or whatnot, but that is hard to leave that ecosystem, and they know it. So even though there's a ton of different Android options out there, it's something to always consider. Apple kind of has you baked in if you are in that ecosystem at all. Now, back specifically to the 14 Pro series, this phone itself has probably one of the best and brightest displays out there. The 120 Hz ProMotion display looks and works very well most of the time. Obviously, if you're running the beta programs, like we do sometimes on one of our devices, you can see stuttering and drop frame rates, but it's not fair to say because a lot of the other people out there and regular consumers will not even experience this until full public releases are done. Beyond that, the cameras are a photographer's dream, obviously. The video camera capabilities, and a lot of our videos actually on this channel are shot using iPhone cameras, if you can believe that. It just works so well. The quality, the HDR, the vivid pictures, if that's what you're about, it really does make it awesome. Where the camera department does struggle is in night photography. It's been a thing for a couple of years now, but you do see a lot of orbs in your night shots. It just can't seem to compile the photo processing data very accurately at night where there is bright light bulbs. So take that for what you want. If you're taking a ton of daytime shots, you won't experience this, but for those nighttime shots with other lighting around it, keep in mind, even in videography, you will see some of those orbs. But aside from that, battery life, it has been known, this baby has been a battery life champ. Strangely enough though, the battery degradation though, our battery health is already down to 96% from 100, so that's something to keep in mind. We are going to lose probably, I would say, about 5 to 6% a year. So those of you that don't upgrade yearly, keep that in mind, that you will not have 100% health even 6 months into using the phone. Now again, one of our Pros and our Pro Max, they are used differently, and obviously the battery health has held on a little longer just due to the charging patterns behind that. But again, it is something I wanted to call out for you guys. Battery life is phenomenal, but the degradation is pretty significant. Now, aside from this, like I said, the display is great. We know what the Apple processors are capable of. Everything is smooth in day-to-day usage. However, memory retention is definitely not the best out there. when you go to multitask, there is a lot of times where apps that you used earlier in the day simply need to refresh to load. It is not held in the memory. Could be due to, Apple using less RAM than some relative other Android phones, but no big deal. Just keep in mind it will probably have to refresh before it opens up that app again. Not every time, but it has been an inconsistent issue nonetheless. Having said all that, the build, it is a heavy phone. It is stainless steel and glass, and we've never had an issue with this display scratching, luckily enough. We have a lot of friends with the microfiber or micro scratches on there, but it's just something to keep in mind here as well. So again, if you follow the channel, gaming is not one of our top concerns that we usually take care of here. We show it occasionally. This has been no different. Apple and gaming with this Bionic chip has worked out very well. So if you're a gamer, you will not be disappointing playing Call of Duty, PUBG, Mario Kart racing, whatever the scenario might be, Pokemon, it handles it with ease. Aside from that, overall, I do think, as a final verdict, it is not worth picking up a 14 Pro at this point in its life cycle. If you don't have to jump out and get a phone tomorrow, I would wait for the iPhone 15 series just because of all of the known and anticipated changes with it. Everything from that USB-C port to probably a better display, whether it's brighter nits or just the increased kind of option with the camera island not protruding as much that are all rumored to be featured on this. I think that is the way to go. Of course, obviously, my personal opinion. You guys do what you want and take what you want with this information, but I don't think you're disappointed or will be disappointed if you wanted to wait for that iPhone 15 series. Now, again, we do normally dual carry our phones. This is our primary SIM card. It is in our 15 or our 14 Pro Max, and opposed to our S23 Ultra or any of our other devices. And I mention this because I do want to call out, if you do like switching between devices regularly, this baby does make it a lot more difficult in the US at least, since it is eSIM only, and that is embedded SIM cards. What that means is you cannot put in a physical SIM card here like you traditionally would in all of the older model iPhones and just kind of pop it in, take it out, and put it in another device as needed. Unfortunately, you are locked in or have to deal with your carrier and how well they handle eSIM transfers right now, and that is very up in the air since it is a newer feature out and about now. Just a random call out, but I do like to mention that to people that do like to switch devices a lot. It is not as easy to do so with this baby here. But yeah, that's all for this one, guys. Just wanted to let you know, really wouldn't recommend it quite now. It's a great phone if you get on a discount, but to pay full price and go out and purchase, I don't recommend it since it is so late in that life cycle, like we said. Alternatively, between foldables and Android and the OS itself just taking over and really being so much more customizable, you cannot go wrong, and I always do recommend, check out some of the higher end Android phones right now if you're looking at an iPhone. Check out the Samsungs, check out the Huawei's, check out the Xiaomi's, whatever is local to your market that is a competitor. They all have great devices now and do work seamlessly in their own integrations, but also here in the US as a standalone device. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up this video if you found it helpful. We really appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.